Just on the brink of qualification for the final round this year. This is a hugely significant match if last year's silver medalists are to give themselves a shot at making the podium again. And that's a very good start to it for France from the far side. The left-hand spike into a gaping hole in the Australian defence. Benjamin Tognuti, the captain and setter, serving for them. They come to the near side this time. Shut down was the very athletic Boyer. And Australia are able to get their first point on the board. Thibaut Rosart scoring France's first point. From the far side, Australia responding through Max Staples. James Weir next to serve for them. Boyer again, but he's denied by the three blockers over on the far side for Australia. Stephan Boyer couldn't find a way through. Set right on top of the net from Tognuti. And a perfect way for France to respond. That was as easy as it gets for Kevin Leroux. Thibaut Rosart to serve. Staples behind it, the set from the 3-metre line for the backcourt attack. And Australia come right back at France to lead again. This is the very first indication, a small one at that though, as to how spiky and how resilient Australia can be. Big serve from Lincoln Williams, rocking France back against the baseline, but they're able to dig their heels in on defense and come back strong to tie once more. Off the outside of the block and off the playing surface for a French point, 3-3. Leroux to serve. To serve into the net, Australia ahead again. Here goes Max Staples, 37 points coming into the weekend. Tognuti, the set from a long way back, helped over the top. A chance for Australia to set for the backcourt attack, far side, and what a block that is. Lincoln Williams going with everything, full power, and he got stopped in his tracks. Boyer's serve. Difficult pass across court, far side to the near side. France a chance to get on top in the rally. A chance to take the lead for the first time since the first point. Tognuti to the far side, touched over the top, and there's the score. France nudged their noses in front through Trevor Klevner. Boyer's serve again. It's a better pass this time towards the net, although the hit is long from Australia. They really put themselves in trouble on the previous point with the cross-court pass that made it a difficult attack-hitting opportunity from a long way off the net. That time it was on the net, but over here. Over the top of the double block, and it drops down and in for an Australian score. France's mini run of 3 straight points comes to an end. Trent O'Day to serve next for Australia. Tonietti for the backcourt attack. Boyers finding his form now. An impressive start for Boyer, who was blocked on his first attack yet. He scored a couple of points since now. Clipped the top of the net on that one, which may have made it even more difficult for the Australian defence. Klevno's serve. France 1 point away from the technical timeout, and that will take them there. They have gone on a really good run, scoring 4 of the last 5 points to lead by 3 at the technical timeout here in the first set. Lebadu's Australian team led 3-4 after the first 7 points. So in fact, since then, it is a 5-1 run for France. Tilly's team on top, looking to keep that run going off the back of the technical timeout. Australia will hope that the chance to talk a few things over turns the tide back in their favour. Instead, the run goes on and on for France. Fired into the net that time. France up by 4. James Weir with the miss hit. Had the running set against the one blocker, Chinenez, and couldn't take advantage. Off the top of the double block this time, recovered in the backcourt. Tonietti to set from the 3-metre line. And France just keep on coming, up by 5 now. It's a 7-1 run. Only 2 points removed from the technical timeout. Australian head coach Mark Lebedew will call another timeout by the looks of it, because he is still not happy. Expression says it all, doesn't it, on the face of Mark Lebedew. Man who led Berlin to 3 straight German league titles from 2012 to 2014, also coached a couple of clubs in Poland. Backcourt attack, left hand across court, stopped on this near side. Australian block in position. The big hit from Lincoln Williams knocked France back, allowed Australia to try and get on top, allowed the block time to form on the far side, and he'll be a little more pleased that time. Back set Tonietti for the backcourt attack, and what a good job from Max Staples to dodge the bullet. He read the situation and had a really good understanding of his court position there, didn't he? He was about to go for it and then pulled away. Tonietti back set, tipped over the top, adjusted mid-air. Trevor Klevno did really well, stretching and twisting to score. Able to find a gap, find the right trajectory. Barthélemy Chinenez to serve, the 21-year-old middle blocker, very talented. He was a teenager on the 2017 World League winning roster. Australia closing the gap down to 3 here. It has been as many as 5. Luke Smith to serve for them has got 8 aces in this competition already. That was a shack serve reception. France trying to deal with it. And in the end, it's a double mistake from Thibaut Rosard. Struggled on the serve reception and then struggled after France had been knocked back to try and keep the rally going. Always difficult to turn a rally around and get on top after a serve reception like that. Australia making the most of the opportunity, back within 2. And talking about coming back strong, Thibaut Rosard, what a way to respond after the disappointment of the previous point. A huge hit from Rosard. Staples, and a huge rejection this time on the near side. Boyer behind it. And France back up by 4 with the captain on serve. Dosanjh with the tip, line drive lands for Staples. Australia determined to hang in the fight here in set 1 and to close this gap. Toniuti's back set to the near side. Rosard, this time on the opposite wing, over the top. Touched off the side of the block. Australian score. France aren't sure. They're looking around and wondering if it's worth a challenge. The officials seeing a touch off the French player to carry the ball out of bounds. Challenge, so Thibaut Rosard, who was the French player there, wasn't convinced. Heavily involved at the moment, the number 18. Again, he struggles on serve reception. Australia perhaps targeting Thibaut Rosard after that previous error, and it slips through his hands this time. The Aussies are back within 1 from 5 down. The first ace of the contest. Again, Rosard responding from that disappointment. He scored the first point straight after his first error. But, he's just scored straight after that previous error as well. Now what a serve as well, right back to the corner. And France respond with an ace of their own. Thibaut Rosard showing all kinds of resilience and character. And he leads France in scoring here with 5 points. It's another very good serve, but just a little bit too much on it this time. Certainly giving Australia plenty to think about here. France 1 point away from the second technical timeout of the opening set. Toniuti to this near side, clever finish from Boyer, and that will take France there. And Boyer has 4 points now, just 1 behind Rosard. France lead by 3 at the technical timeout. A big hole in front of the net defense and the backcourt defense to be exploited. France leading 16-13. It is first to 25 in each set if you're new to this sport. Best of 5 sets. First to 15 in the 5th if we require one. Australia back within 2. Off that overhit serve. Boyer with 4 points for France, Rossard with 5. Australia led by the 3 of Luke Smith so far. Blockers given time to get in position, but the deflection was a heavy one. Such was the power on the attack kit, and Australia weren't able to penetrate too much on the block. By that I mean angle those arms over the top of the net and down towards the floor. Boyer's battering ram of a serve. Not a good pass from the baseline. Big chance here for France. Kept up over the top by Tognetti, playing a bit of football to the far side. Down the line for the French score. They got away with that. Clevno gets the point. It looked as though it was going to be a perfect position for France to pounce after the bad pass from Australia. And then Australia almost got the score before Tognetti kept it up off the deck with his right boot. They should have scored there. Tognetti saved them. And then Clevno eventually put it away. Tognetti with a keeper. France are trying to keep up this momentum as we head on to the final stretch of the first set, leading by 4 points now. Off the back of the timeout of Australia, Boyer on serve. They've led by as many as 5. They're trying to tie the largest lead here. Dosanjh cross-court set to the near side. The hit off the block by Luke Smith. He's now got 4 points. Trento Day's serve. It's a good one down the line as well. Behind it was Rossard, the libero. And Australia get the score. The serve started all of that from Trento Day. Made it difficult for France to deal with. And what a block that is as well from James Weir. Australia back in touch. And at the perfect time as well. With the finish line in this first set appearing on the horizon. Tognetti off the top of the block on the hit. After the set from Tognetti, and then the line drive lands out of bounds this time. France just about able to keep their lead intact for now. There was a gap down the line as well towards the feet of Boyer. We'll have another timeout here with France leading by 2, 19-17. In fact, there's going to be a challenge. After that hit down the line from Australia. The ball was clearly out, so I was just wondering if it was going to be a challenge for something else, but no question about it, the ball was out. It may have just been called so that Marc Lebedeau could get a message to one of his players while the challenge was taking place. Clevno's serve for France. Into the net. Australia back within 1. Dosanjh, who's a setter, but a very lengthy setter. Gets the height to clip the top of the net on the serve, and the block is there in position. Far side, two of them. James Weir may have got the final touch, but Rosar stopped in his tracks, and Australia are level from 5 down. It was Weir coming across from centre. As he tipped over the top. Desange diving down, far side, drilled to the baseline by Lincoln Williams. It almost took their head off Nicola Rosar. It was travelling long from Williams, but Rosar didn't stand a chance of getting out the way of it. A left-hand lightning bolt. From 5 down, Australia have the lead. Timeout, France. Now it's coach Laurent Tilly, who's not happy at all. France seemed in control of this one, but this is a shining example of what this Australian team are all about. They will scrap and claw to stay in contention from any given difficult position. Desange to serve again to try and keep their run going off the top of the net again. Rosar behind it, Toniotti's back set. Boyer with the big hit to get France back in business. 20-20. 5 points now for Boyer. Perfect back set from Toniotti though as well, allowing Boyer to show his powerful pinpoint technique. Australia back up, 21-20. James Weir coming in with some big plays down the stretch here in set 1. That was almost an open goal of a finish though. Toniotti setting right on top of the net. Far side, Australian blockers in the way. No way through for Rosar. Maybe no way back for France. Australia really working hard towards the end of this set and showing their muscle. Lincoln Williams powering the ball over the top. France desperately in need of this score. Perry behind it. Desange to set all the way from the backcourt. Tipped over the top. There's Boyer. Buries it down the line. And France are fighting back now as well. Boyer, the leading scorer in the match now on 6 points. Really good stop from Nicola Rosar down on the deck, the libero wearing the blue jersey. Australia getting that score in the blink of an eye, back up by 2 again and only 2 points away for the magical 25-point mark now. France can ill afford to lose this match, and if they're to fall a set down early on, it gives them a huge job to do. Elliot Viles coming in for James Weir momentarily on serve for Australia. And serving only into the net. So the deficit for France halved. Viles back to the bench. Failed move from Marc Labadou. Thibaut Rosar with little room for error. Good serve. Behind it was Staples though. Received it really well. Touched it over the top as well. Boyer over the top of the double block. Helped into the lights. Desange to set from the backcourt. Staples against the triple block off the net twice. Still going, and what a big one-on-one rejection that was from Trevor Clevno to get France level. Lincoln Williams had the isolated attack hit opportunity, although he couldn't get a run up at it. And Clevno was there. Who will have the first set point of this first set on this court this weekend? It'll be France. Thibaut Rosard stepping up with an ace at the perfect time. What an ace as well. It curled out towards this sideline. Set point France. Rosard, it's another really good serve. France with a glorious opportunity to seal it, and they do. Trevor Clevno from the far side. France take the first set. A rollercoaster ride of a first set. They were up by 5 points. Australia came back to lead by a couple. Scorers for France, Trevor Clevno. 7 points for him, 5 off attack hits, 2 on block. Not too far behind, 6 points each for Rosard and Boyer. Lebanon's team will serve first in set 2 with the captain Max Staples. Roux lands the first blow of set 2. Textbook serve reception for France. Serve reception finding the setter at the net, finding the tallest player on the roster over the top of the net. Rosard all the way through. Did it catch a piece of the baseline? The officials say no. It's an Australian score. He's not so sure. No challenge from France though. Trent O'Day to serve for Australia. And the block working ever so well again. Dosanjh and Weir. The better blocking team in the first set. They get a big block right at the start of the second as well. France's top scorer stopped in his tracks. Great penetration over the top. And Boyer buries it down to the deck. Incredible athleticism and power. From Boyer, the 23-year-old opposite. Had a team 4th best, 61 points over the first 3 weeks, but he's the 2nd top scorer on the roster for this weekend. Tilly and Le Goff aren't involved for France. Do have their top scorer in the competition here, France, Jean Patry, but he's not in the starting lineup. Clevno, well, he's taken on the added scoring responsibility, Trevor Clevno. It's 8 points for him now, 6 of them off spikes. Scored 35 points over the first 3 weeks of competition. Stephen Boyer. Showing what he's all about. Pure power. It rocks Australia back against the ropes. And France come out on top. A block touch carrying the ball out of bounds. Rosard is up to 7 points. Players, 7 or more for France already. In fact, they've only had 4 players score, but 3 of them on 7+. It's a gift of a hit. A serve reception, carrying the ball right back into the French side of the floor. It was a tap in from there. Togniotti, setter on the scoreboard. Well, they get the score, Australia. The serve put them in a difficult position. The pass coming from the baseline all the way to the net hung in the air a long time, which gave France the opportunity to get their blockers in a good position. Australia still able to find a way through. Smith's serve is long. France back up by 2. 2 points away from the technical timeout. Klevno, the 24-year-old wing spiker. Those Sands with the nice on-hand set for the snapshot from Weir. Difficult to stop when it happens that quickly. The running set putting him one-on-one with Shinenez. Backcourt hit down the line, but he had to generate all of the power, not able to get much of a run up on it, Boyer, but that is something he can certainly do. Telling me Shinenez to serve. Sanj tipping it off balance was Williams. France given a golden chance to go into the technical timeout with a 3-point lead. Boyer to take them there. France are up by 3, 8-5 at the first technical timeout of the second set, having won the first set 25-23. Trying to get to the final 6 of the challenge of Poland, who are just behind them in the standings, to take what at the moment looks to be the last spot for the showpiece in Chicago. It's the final 6, but it's only the top 5 from the standings that seemingly will get there, given the USA are automatically qualified as hosts of the finals. Poland at the moment, the world champions, missing out. Australia back within 2 here in set 2. Williams to serve next for them. Just got that score. Williams up to 6 points. Make it 7. A body shot delivered to Rosar. He has to shake off the cobwebs and respond. Just about found its way over the top of the net. Boyer rejected emphatically. Max Staples there for Australia to get them level. The French top scorer has his momentum shut down. Serve too long this time, France back ahead, but once again Australia on the comeback trail. Williams down the line, wide of the line. That gives France a little bit of breathing room. Williams, in the end, he was a good way off. Sacrifice precision over power. There he is, showing what he can do in that position. Absolutely no chance of Nicolas Rossard getting out the way of it. And down the line with that kind of power, as soon as you beat the blocker at the net, very difficult to deal with in the backcourt. Staples serve too long. France up 11-9. Rossard ready to serve for them. 2 points on serve for him so far. The only French player to score a point on serve. Close to another. It was a good save though, diving down from Dosanjh after the ball had hit the top of the net against the triple block of Australia. Clevno against the block. Shifted across to the near side, but Clevno gets the point. It's because Dosanjh deflected the ball against the antenna. Rossard rocking Australia back to the baseline. They'll try and respond. Diving save from the other Rossard. The finish from Dosanjh. Australia weathered the storm. Setter for Australia with the spiked finish. He's a tall setter, Dosanjh, 2 meters 5. Able to produce that kind of an attack kit. Tip over the top from Weir. Tall Australian front line, working hard and working in tandem. France eventually getting one to stick though. Found its way through a gap as France went from one side to the other. Made Australia work, shifting across. Boyer off the block. Dosanjh to set from the 3-meter line. And Luke Smith getting it to land. Australia back within 1. Luke Smith up to 5 points behind the 8 of Williams. Oh, it was well left by the French libero Nicolas Rossard. Only just floating beyond the baseline from Dosanjh. Against the top of the net from Boyer. Very little to separate these two. Not just here in the second set, but in the first set as well. France a team with 5 more wins over the first 9 games than Australia. Australia have taken so many of those matches the distance, though. Tended just to slip away at the last. They're a team that will give anyone a real test. Lebedeau a key part of the reason for that. Instills a great mentality in this group of Australian players. Staples off balance and overhit. France into the second technical timeout of the second set here with a bit of a safety net, up by 3. to overturn a 5-point deficit in the first set before letting it slip right at the end. And try and overturn a 3-point deficit here in the second set, as we see the stat line of Lincoln Williams leading the way for them with 8 points, 5 off attack hits, 1 on serve, 2 blocks. Takes his tally to 111 for the tournament so far. Former winner of the Australian League Best Spiker Award. Now plays his club volleyball with Russian champions Nizhnevartovsk. Here he is off the top of the block. Boyer finds a way through. Dosanjh behind it in the back court. Really good hit from Williams, demonstrating how deadly he can be. The pass came from off the court, hung in the air a long time. 2 blockers able to get there and penetrate the net for France. But Williams still found a way past them with power and precision. Williams against the block this time to carry it out of bounds. Back-to-back points for Lincoln Williams. Australia back in touch. They've scored both of the points since the technical timeout. Can't quite complete this comeback though, as Weir serves into the net. Just settle the nerves, perhaps, of France. Chenenya's to serve for them. Dosanjh setting right on top of the net, but a miss hit from Trent O'Day. Really settles the nerves for France. They're up by 3 again. And Australia's good work, the good work of Lincoln Williams to get them back within 1. Goes begging. You can't afford errors like that at this stage. Faintly hear the words of Australian head coach Mark Leverdew, who was a bit easier to hear when he was our co-commentator on the Final 6 last year in Lille. Very passionate, very technical, very motivational. Well, the 1-2 punch combination, Lincoln Williams knocking France back, Trent O'Day finishing them off. Williams to serve. Klevno behind it. One top scorer serving to another. Boyer able to take his tally to 10 as well, so he ties level with Klevno and Williams. 3 double-digit scorers already in this match. Boyer helps it across court. Rosar off the triple block. Backcourt hit from Williams. Off the outside of the block, and he's now the leading scorer with 11. To bounce off Rosar. Australia certainly not giving up hope just yet. Max Staples to serve for them. Good serve as well down the line. It's a French point. Kevin Leroux with the hit. I think there was an error before that, though. It's back up by 3. Like one of the blockers touched the net on the Australian side of the floor. Williams down the line, stopped by Nicolas Rossard. And France come back for the score with Trevor Klevno. Up by 4 and only 4 points away from taking the second set. Australia need to call a timeout to talk things through and to try and figure out the best route back into this match. What a mountain to climb it would be if Australia lost the first 2 sets of this match. Although they've made a habit of taking matches the full 5 sets at this tournament. Haven't really got close to Laurent Tilly's team over sets 1 and 2. Despite a great deal of trying, they've reduced the arrears here back to 3 through Luke Smith. France always have seemed to have that extra gear, though. Just caught the blocker, the one blocker on the way down. Boyer not able to hang in the air long enough. Almost a kind deflection for Australia. Thankfully for France, Kevin Leroux's hit was so strong that it could deflect all the way back and beyond the baseline. Leroux to serve. And what a serve as well from Leroux against the body of Smith to carry it beyond the advertising boards. France are up by 5 and need just 2 more. There's a sense of inevitability now about this second set. Diving save from Perry against the French block, though. Deflecting the ball back, angling it well towards the baseline. They've got a whole handful of set points. Luke Smith stopped by the French block. Kevin Leroux trying to take France to the finish line. Instead of the finish line, it was just beyond the baseline. Australia saved the first of those set points. 5 more to come. And they save another. 2 blockers getting tight. Luke Smith getting the touch. Australia on the ropes, maybe even flat on their back on the canvas with the count at 9. Can they pick themselves back up to their feet? Maybe they can. Back-to-back big-time blocks, and they plant the seed of doubt in the French minds. They have saved 3 set points. Dosanjh's serve. Over the top and wide of the mark. 4 in a row for Australia, with their hopes in this second set dangling by a thread. Dosanjh on serve still. 2 more points to try and tie level. France do it. Despite the very best, valiant attempts of Australia, France find a way to finally get there. In between the two blockers, Trevor Klevno, and France lead here by 2 sets to love. They had a great deal of breathing room in set 2. They ended up winning it by just 3, 25-22, having taken the first 25-23. Iran. France lead by 2 sets to love over Australia. And are hoping to seal this in straight sets now as we go to a third. 25-22 in the second set. 5 more points on attack hits, 3 fewer on block, 1 more off errors of their opponents. Australia have been the better blocking team through sets 1 and 2. France have been the better spiking team, and that has carried them through. Both sets have had really entertaining momentum shifts. And Australia doing their best to stay in it now. They face a third set, Australia, that they simply have to win. France will be desperate to get this done in 3 sets to take maximum points for the standings, to be well rested and recovered for the matches over the next 2 days here on this court. France led by the 12 points of Trevor Klevno, who leads all scorers in the match. They've also got Stefan Boyer on double figures with 11, and 7 from Thibaut Rosard. Australia led by the 11 points of Lincoln Williams, 7 each for James Weir and Luke Smith. See, this arena is really starting to fill up now here in Ardebil. The match between Iran, the pool hosts, and Portugal is due to get underway in around 2 hours' time. This place will be absolutely packed for that one. Iran are on a red-hot run, 5 straight wins, including 3 out of 3 in Iran last weekend. They're here again on home soil, looking to book their ticket for the final 6. France are in a more difficult position in trying to do so, but at the moment doing enough. They have the lead here in set 3. Swing and a miss for James Weir. That's what happens when the jump and the set aren't in tandem with each other. That was certainly more in tandem. The back set from Dosanjh. The big hit on the far side from Lincoln Williams. 12 points for him now to tie Klevno as the top scorer in the match. Australia up and running in set 3. France back up by 2. Klevno back ahead in terms of the scoring charts. 13 points for him now, 11 of those coming off attack hits. Dosanjh across to the near side. Overhead pass is a good one right on top of the net, and France win the point. They've won 4 of the first 5 points in set 3. A set that Australia have to win, and it's becoming an even bigger task early on. And that one lands in. So the officials say, Australia say otherwise. They can challenge this if they so choose. Flashes right on the baseline. There is going to be a challenge. So difficult to see, even on that first replay, whether the ball lands on the baseline or flashes past it. The point has been given to France, who are up 5-1 as it stands. Australia hope that this will be overturned if the evidence is conclusive that the ball was out. And there you go. It was out by a good few inches. So difficult to tell on first viewing and on second viewing on that occasion. Instead, it's 2-4. Now it's 2-5. Lincoln Williams firing into the net. Australia not able to build any momentum in this set. With the help of the technology, Kevin Leroux to serve for France, the tallest player on their roster. To serve into the net. 2 meters, 9 centimeter middle blocker. He'll go to the bench as well, Leroux. Togniotti setting right on top of the net for Boyer. He's not going to miss that one. Boyer up to 12 points. In fact, it's Daryl Boutard, I beg your pardon, coming in. Daryl Boutard, who had just come in off the bench in place of Kevin Leroux, who'd gone and sat down. What a hit that was on serve. What an attempt it was from Luke Parry to keep it alive. Ended up giving the supporters here a souvenir. Good hit from Elliot Viles. He's listed as a libero. The official documentation that we've had, but he's playing as an attack hitter on this occasion for Australia. He's one of the smallest players on their roster. It's an Australian score as well, so they're back within 2. Boultort, 23-year-old middle blocker who's come in off the bench in this third set. There he is again. He's fresh and firing. And there's Australia's substitute, Elliot Viles, scoring again, getting them back within 1. The 1.93 in height, but he's got the joint highest spike reach on the Aussie roster at 3.6 meters. Springs in his heels. Speaking of, what a hit from Boultort. Daryl Boultort taking France into the technical timeout with a 2-point edge over Australia here in the third set. Coaches needing to delve into the depths of the roster to try and keep players fresh, to rotate, and Mark Labadou's case trying to find a spark for a comeback in a set they have to win. And Lauren Tilley's case trying to keep players fresh for the next 2 matches as well, because they're so reliant on 1 or 2 players who put so much in and have done already in this match. Klevno 14 points, Boyer 12 points. Speaking of a man who's put so much in as well, Lincoln Williams up to 13, 10 of those off attack hits. He's converted 45.5% of his spikes in this tournament. Bultor there again, stopped this time. Boyer kept it alive. Australia on the front foot on this rally. They'll try and help it up towards the lights. Bultor gets it over. France just trying to stay in the fight here in this rally and eventually fall. And Australia get level. France eventually fall at the hands of Luke Smith. Roche Dosanjh to serve. Helped Australia put together a good run on serve in the previous set. And doing so again here in set 3 with a huge helping hand off the top of the net. An ace for Dosanjh. Australia from 2 down at the technical timeout now lead. They've scored 3 straight points. Klevno watched it hang for a long time, and his technique was perfect. Over 3 blockers, still able to get his elevation and his trajectory right. Awkward hit for Williams, but he's a player so capable of striking from any position. Absolutely no run-up, had to slightly adjust his body position from behind the 3-meter line, and he still nailed it to the floor. France nailed that one against the block. Back level, 10-10 here in set 3. Williams again. It's money for him right now. Lincoln Williams each and every time. He's up to 15 points in the match. Tilley and his team give him plenty to think about. We are behind it, but couldn't lift it up off the deck. France level again. Neither team can score a point on their own serve at the moment. Keep alternating between an Australian lead and a tie game. Klevno now has surpassed Williams as the top scorer on 16 points. We have a break to that pattern that I was just alluding to. France are ahead, 12-11. They do score a point on serve. Mark Labadou's team only finding the net. Klevno remains on the baseline. Can only serve into the net. 12-12. Trent O'Day to serve next for Australia. Toniotti's set, looked like it was going to be a back set. Instead he did so well to pick out the attack hitter on the far side of the floor. It's Yassine Louati who's coming off the bench. He gets his first point. Well, the triple block of France forcing it back onto the Australian side of the floor, and they couldn't deal with it. France up by 2 here, 14-12. They're starting to raise their game here in the third set. Australia are going to have to rise to the challenge, and they will try to do so by calling a timeout. Trailing by 2 points in a set that they have to win. Took the first set in 26 minutes, the second set in 24 minutes. Australia are trying to force a fourth set in this match. They're going to have to do so from a losing position though, down by 2, half that deficit. Off the long serve of Kevin Leroux now. Australia given a bit of encouragement after their timeout. Luke Smith on serve. Toniotti, plenty of attack hitters arriving. And the one that was arriving down the pipe produced a miss hit. Australia are level in the third set. Klevno hasn't produced many miss hits in this match. Smith serves into the net, and Australia's not quite able to get themselves ahead at the moment, but they are right there. Dosanjh back set, coming in far side was Williams, kept up in the backcourt. Big hit, Boyer. Stop to the net, they'll come again, far side. The Australian blockers sewn tightly together. And they get the score. Dosanjh left a little on his own after the big triple block, but he still had the length and the positioning to score and to get Australia level. Another example of why many rallies have been so entertaining in this match, because France have so many offensive weapons. Australia running a really good block. Boyer coming in, burying one on the near side. France ahead at the technical timeout, 16-15. Australia will need to come from behind to pip France at the post in the third set here, down the final stretch. Is in fact the French lead here as we come back off the technical timeout. France in a good position from which to hold off Poland in the standings for that 5th spot to take them to the final 6. France arriving at this one 6-3, Poland 5-4 at the moment, so only 1 win behind, but France are 4 points clear, which is the decider. If the two teams are tied on their win-loss record, France have 19 points, Poland have 15. And France would take a maximum 3 points for the standings if they could win this one in straight sets or indeed in 4 sets. Boyer against the block, and there they are again at the centre this time. Tremendous work by the front line of the Australian defence. James Weir getting them level, no way through, no matter how much France tried. Desange has provided a few runs on serve already for Australia, looking to produce another. No chance of building momentum that time. The clever Klevno finish. Just touching the ball down the line away from Williams because the angle for the big hit. The cross court was closed down by the middle blocker getting across. And then a big, powerful serve, too hot for Luke Perry to handle. Puts France back in the driver's seat. Wasn't too much that Luke Perry can't handle. One of the best libero in the competition, the 23-year-old. And that's a French point as well, into the net from Australia. France up by 3, only 6 points away. We might well have a timeout here, and we are going to have a timeout here from Australia. Time is running out for them. (19-16) to France, up by 2 sets already. And Australia into the net. So the lead for France grows. Bit of head scratching to do for Marc Lebedeau and his team. Not often in this tournament have they failed to win a set. In fact, just once. They've only won 1 of their 9 matches, but they've won a set in 8 of them. They get an ace here, and a bit of a lifeline on the serve of Elliot Viles, trying to make one more desperate comeback. The blockers can only deflect beyond the baseline here, so France are 4 points away, back up by 3. Australia have plenty to fight for. Their place in the competition next year is under threat. Can they continue to fight? Well, Williams going down the line was off the mark. And surely now this is going to be a straight sets victory for France. Here he comes again, Williams. Gets that one to go. Australia took sets off world champions Poland. And finals host the USA. They took 2 sets off world number 1 Brazil. They took 2 sets off Serbia. They beat Germany in straight sets. They took a set off Italy. And 2 sets against Bulgaria and Japan. They've only failed to register a set against Canada, or one of the other challenger teams in the competition. Looks like they're going to fail to register a set in this one here against France. Klevno had to be dug out low down. Williams against the block adds another to his impressive tally, up to 17 points now. Lincoln Williams. On behind Klevno as the leading scorer in the match. Laurent Tilly calm and composed though, with France only 2 points away. Williams with power, Klevno behind it. A little rattled by the big hit from Williams, who comes back again and lands another blow. Lincoln Williams doing his very best to keep Australia in this match. He actually scored the joint record for aces in one game at last year's tournament when he had 6. So they've got a good weapon on the baseline, Australia, as they look to remain alive and kicking in this contest. Timeout called by France this time. Tilly not quite as calm and composed as he was a few points ago. Australia are doing what they do best: fight back, make life difficult for their opponents. Williams looking to keep the run going on serve here. Down by 2 now, 21-23, in a set they need to win. Williams too long that time, and France have 3 match points. Kevin Leroux first up to serve to try and take them there. Really good serve reception. Dosanjh tried to sneak it over. Boyer against the block. The first of those 3 match points saved. A combination of Trent O'Day and Luke Smith at the net. Let's see who got the decisive touch. It was O'Day. His 13th stuff block in the competition. Boyer with a knockout blow to Australia. Stéphane Boyer takes France to 25 as they win it in straight sets. They hold off another attempted Australian comeback, and they take the 3rd set in a time of 26 minutes. Boyer, one of 2 big scorers for them. 15 to finish for him, behind the 18 of Trevor Klevno, who was tied as the leading scorer in the match with Australia's Lincoln Williams. His 18 points coming in vain, and France moved to 7-3 over the first 10 matches of the competition. Laurent Tilly's team doing a job they had to do to hold off the challenge of world champions Poland for a place in the top 5. Perfect start to the penultimate weekend of competition for them. Australia in a real battle to survive in this competition, to maintain their place in the 2020 edition. As a look at the overall match stats, France with 8 more points altogether, but a huge differential on attack hits. Australia very good on block, 11-5 in that department, but France is very talented, very athletic attack hitters doing the job for them. 33 points from Klevno and Boyer combined. France win it in straight sets, 25-23, 25-22, 25-22. A straight sets win here for France over Australia in the first match on court in Ardebil. Later it is Iran, Portugal in just less than an hour and a half. We'll see you for that one. Thank you for being a part of the game.